Welcome to Fact or Freestyle.
We discover hidden secrets of BMX.
And now we're going to find out what's going on.
Let's see how far down this rabbit hole we go.
Boy, Joe in trouble today, but we'll talk about that later.
You can't start the show with that, Ray. He's got a lot going on. He's got Flatland coordinating all this. Many other things aren't in his plate.
You haven't even started yet, though, right?
It's trouble.
We haven't.
So officially, but no, we're not started yet.
Okay.
I don't know who has to come on, because Keith King is already and Flat Bible. Who has to come on, Joe, for when we're officially starting?
Flat Bible says, hello, Ray.
Hello there. And I see Keith. What's up, Keith?
What's up, Ray?
How you doing?
Ray, can you see Flat Bible's response?
It says, no, wait.
There's two screens that have Flat Bible. One is for Flat Bible to hear us, and the other is my phone pointed at.
Yeah, I see that, but I can't see it. It's really small.
Oh,
It changed a little bit, Joe. You had it really dialed. I'm not sure what happened, but it's back to how it was.
Oh, there we go. It says, leave me, like me, and it's hello, Ray. Yeah, I see it now. Leave me money, hello, Ray. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to do a version of this show that is
on the
just
right,
the Flat Bible.
Am I on the right Zoom call?
What show are you on? Going back to all caps. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. I think all caps is good if that's easy.
It is.
I want to see if you guys can land the plane from the ground. Like you guys be in an airplane by yourselves and have somebody talk you into landing that plane. I think you could do it.
I don't know. That's the pressure's on for that.
Can't be any worse than this.
What can we, Dave?
Joe,
why don't we try to do that? That's kind of what we're doing, like with this show, doing life coaching and creating a religion to help people navigate situations in their lives.
Yeah, but I keep starting the show earlier and earlier. I say, Joe, come on, let's get on at 20. We used to be like 10 minutes before. Now it's 15. And then this time I'm like, I'm going on at 20. I have a suggestion. Let's go on at 20 minutes before. How do you feel? Sure. We haven't covered anything that I wanted to cover. I went to the guest list.
Wait, Joe has a garbage can to his lips. Is that a garbage can or a megaphone? What's going on? Are you kidding me?
So,
that's like
all right.
That's like a full blood transfusion right there. What the hell is that?
I got this because I have to drink water in the Terradome, and so I don't want to have to keep going back and forth. So this is a big water jug thing.
What would normally be in that?
Well, no, it's water, and it has electrolyte powder in it. But look, it has all these motivational sayings on it.
Yeah, I don't need any of those. I need none of those sayings. I have black coffee in a big Chrome John right here, and that's all you need. If there's something out there that's extremely weird or will get some kind of odd comment, Joe immediately gravitates towards it, kind of like that your disco shirt you got there, Dave.
Disco? It's not disco.
Oh, now Dave's insulted.
Why is it all black?
Okay, what is it?
Glowworm? What is it?
Just my show. It's just my show shirt, because
why is it
shows.
I'm talking about the hoodie that's all like flashing colors. What's that mean?
It's my show. It's my show jacket, because it's all about shows.
But how do you get it to? How's the electricity get to it?
It's just radiating from off my energy.
It's from you. It's off of you. Okay. Yeah.
You have to have those lights so you don't.
It's got a little.
Yeah, this might be my last show. I have Keith King's enthusiasm right now. Where is Keith? Is he still there?
See,
I got Keith to laugh. Look at that. I'm awesome. All right.
His last show. Well,
No,
we were
this is-
talking about replacement earlier, Joe, so maybe we can do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
We can do some interviews because we'll have a lot of people to pick from.
Oh wait,
So-
you guys are gonna fire me? That'd be the greatest
No,
show
no,
ever.
no.
I'm not-
Dave is trying to replace me.
Oh,
if
Dave-
Joe's
Dave
gone,
needs
I'm
an
out.
upgrade.
No way, man. If Joe's gone,
I know we lose
I
Ray.
go with them.
No,
yeah,
it's me. It's me because I have 2 weekends that I can't do next weekend, or I can only
Joe-
do a little bit.
Joe
And
and
then
I can do
also
it.
in April I've got something
You know what?
going on.
If you we got it covered. If you go, Joe and I can handle it. I guarantee it.
Well, I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask in the show that will define that if that's actually can happen. Because playing my role,
Listen,
Keith
Joe
might
is,
be a better candidate. I'm just saying.
Joe is half owner in this thing, correct? Isn't this this is Joe and Dave Norrie, right?
He has 43%, I think.
Oh, that you're not 50-50, you guys?
No, I got 43%. He's got 43%.
Look,
And
Joe, if we were playing, I don't know much about poker, but if we were playing poker right now, 2 plywood hoods are bigger than an
Yes.
80 show hack, retired show hack. Dave, you
retired
listen.
show
I
hack.
can hear everything
I'm
you
only
say.
Oh,
I
right.
use that.
Retired
I
show
only
hack.
use that
Voice
line.
being loud.
I only use that line on one other person, and that was Rob Nolly. I called him a show hack, and he didn't laugh as hard as you did. He might have taken it seriously.
Yeah,
But,
that was a fake laugh, Ray. I did
Hello,
not-
Gale.
Hello, Gale. Let's
How are
welcome
you?
Gale on Eddie Fiola's phone or iPad. Hello, Gale.
Hello,
Hi.
Gale.
hello.
Hi. How
Are
you
you
doing?
able to see all of us, Gale?
I see 4 people plus myself. Oh,
All right.
yep. Whoops.
If you're lucky enough to see me, then you'll really be having a good time. But I don't know if you can see me. Do you see a
Sorry,
really
couldn't
handsome
have-
guy with a beard?
Which one? Sorry.
No problem,
Uh-oh.
Gale.
She's got her Secret Service earpiece in. There we go.
Yeah,
There we go. Go ahead. Somebody talk so I can.
All right,
Oh,
let's do
you
some
can-
talking. See how it's going. Give me a thumbs up, Gale, if you can hear my voice. All right.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome.
cool. Joe, I'm gonna
Yes,
message
Dave.
one or two more people just to make sure, and then we can get things rolling.
So Dave is trying to get Chris Baum, and Chris is in Luxembourg today. They did Vicky's Red Bull battle type thing. And I gotta say, Terry in the battle that Terry had with Keo, Terry had an incredible save. It was unbelievable. He got up into crack packer and his rear wheel fell down and he rode a little bit and he pulled it back up. I've never seen anything like that.
He was also doing like he was doing like IHOPs, or
He
it
was
like
he was
Carl
doing
Cruiser
like
hops.
Carl Cruiser hops,
and
and
then
he hooked it into
into a hitchhiker.
a hitchhiker.
It's crazy.
But he was at the beginning, he was hopping and staring down
He's
Keo.
looking at Keo.
It was so good.
Yeah. Okay, so I've sent these messages. I think we should get going, Joe.
Dave,
'Cause-
what is this Tenga thing that Flat Bible is talking about? I don't know.
Explain the Tanga concept. The Tanga show.
Well, maybe you can Google that afterwards.
It's the test.
I don't know.
Make a note about it. Okay, Dave, your show.
It's not my show. It's our show.
Well,
We
I
already
can't
talked
do the
about that.
intro. I'm very bad at intros.
I want to wait just one more minute
Okay.
because I'm trying to get, well, Carl should be here. I'm going to message Carl again to make sure. Talk amongst yourself.
So Gale,
Yeah.
it's so great to see you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you're up to today.
Actually, I'm just sitting here with Eddie Fiola right now, and after this segment, what we're doing, I'm probably going to go to one of the skate parks or bike parks and get some pictures. And so I'm always doing that. I'm always up to something or involved in events wherever I can reach kids. It's been my life for over 44 years. Shows.
That's so awesome.
44 years.
44 years.
So what got you into it? Like, how did you start?
Actually, I started, I kept seeing bike riders ride a lot with skateboarders too. And people were just like, yeah, whatever. They just had an attitude about it. And I grew up also with an attitude, but it was like, why does everybody want to put people down? So I'm going to do something about it. And I brought a group of kids. We had a crate and one of those old Carnation, you put motorcycles on crates, and brought a little piece of wood. I went under the Huntington Beach Pier in 1976. Wow. And I asked some kids to come with me. Let's ride. I got a boom blaster. I mean, I know I was older, you know, and I'm way older now, but I always loved loud music. I refused to totally grow up, but I wanted to be there for the kids. I wanted to do something that no one's ever heard of. Something, what would I like as a kid? I want some music. I want some action. Then tell me your things that you think kids should do, like never give up, follow your dreams. And it's been my life ever since. And I knew hopefully we would draw a little crowd. We drew so many people. I mean, they had to like make room on the underneath the pier there. Here we had our little ramps, the music was going. And here I'm on a skateboard at that time. I had a bicycle there too. I'd kind of ride up and down. Since after that, I actually rode my shows a little bit on bikes, a lot on skateboards, but it drew the attraction. And when I saw the kids with the parents, I knew I was doing the right thing. I kind of looked up like, I know what to do and for the rest of my life. And that's tell people to let these kids be themselves, believe in themselves. You have a bicycle. One kid was only doing like 2 tricks. I thought it was the coolest thing ever I've ever seen. And I knew there were so many more out there that just needed to be watched with good feelings about everything. Usually when you ask me a question, I can go on and on. So you have to kind of cut in.
No,
I'm not cutting in. That was
it's
awesome.
great.
Listen all
It's
day.
great.
Gale,
Yeah,
it's
me
like,
too.
it's so amazing. I mean,
I get
everything you said.
excited.
It's fabulous. I mean, just the 76. I was a flag monitor in San Diego at 76. My slogan was "Wave for Dave." That was literally my flag monitor. So to think that Huntington Beach had Gale Webb doing, you know, reaching out to community about, hey, let's go and have fun and not have attitude, but let's go
Right.
enjoy ourselves and show off. I mean, that's amazing.
All right. I was pretty wild as a youngster too. And I don't know if you know the whole background. I almost lost my life, broke a lot of bones. I had doctors telling me, you're never going to be able to do this. You can't do this. You can't do that. And if you're like me, we hate the word can't. And I just didn't listen to him. I used my middle finger a couple of times and said, no, I'm going to do what I think I can do. And I'm going to make it happen. And I saw so many kids, a lot of guys, a lot of young boys, and their heads were down at that, you know, like, nah. I'm like, put your head up and be proud of what you do, man. You just did a trick. I don't even know how you hang onto the bike. Well, I fell. I go, it's okay if you fall. That's all part of growing up. It's all part of learning tricks on bikes or skate, whatever you do in life. Mm-hmm. You know, it's all part of it. You fall down, you learn a lesson, get back up and try it again.
You know, the USA BMX this week was on TV, and the dude was doing a manual and he ate it. He locked up. He was clipped in, and he went down. And there were people busting his chops, like, "Oh, BMX! What a great showing of BMX!" But after laughing at it and adding like Mario Brothers sound effects to it, I was like, "No, dog, that's the best way to show BMX, because it was on TV. I mean, it was local, whatever. It became a meme, and the dude went down, but nobody in BMX cared that he went down, because, like, you're always going down. You're always falling.
Everybody's gonna fall.
And it's not about how you fall. It's about getting back up. That's what makes a good rider, is getting back up. I mean, I listen to these Rocky movies. I study the Rocky movies practically like religion. And that is exactly like, here's the thing. This Rocky in number 1, the point of the movie was no one had at that time had ever gone the distance with Apollo Creed. And the night before the fight, Rocky goes to his girlfriend who was staying with him, Adrian, and he says, I can't beat this guy, but no one has ever gone the distance, and I'm going to go the distance.
Yeah.
And so Rocky, in 1, Rocky went for an NBD, never been done. And that's what happened. And then in 2, the Duke was talking to Apollo, and Apollo's like, I want another shot because I won, but I didn't beat him. Okay. So he was getting all amped up. And Duke's like, no, let's go get some new meat. And he goes, why? What's your problem? Why won't you help me go up against Rocky again? And Duke comes up and he goes, I saw you beat that man to an inch of his life. And he kept coming at
back.
you. He's like, we don't want that baby in our life. And that's the spirit of Rocky that I have been like, when Todd Carter and I would go to like contests, I would watch Rocky on the plane to get stoked up. I'm not even kidding.
That was your prep.
That was my prep.
Ice Money watched Rocky to ride down the steps in Philly too.
Oh, everybody rides their bike down the steps in Philly. Hey, Joe, real quick. We need to have Scotty Freeman on because he's a huge Rocky fan.
Really?
And me being from Philadelphia, I'm somewhat of a Rocky expert. And I was in Rocky 2, in case you needed to know that fun fact.
Hold on a second. I'm having a religious experience once again around Ray.
When Rocky 2 was being filmed, they put a thing out to like all the elementary schools in the Philadelphia area, and they said, if you want to be in Rocky 2, be at like Fairmount Park Saturday morning at like 6:00. And when Rocky's like running through the park or running through whatever, there's like a million kids running with them, unless it was Rocky 3.
No,
I think it was Rocky
2.
2. I don't see myself in there, but I went there with a couple kids and we were like running like, we couldn't see Sylvester Stallone. We could see him, but he was like a million miles away, but we were in the crowd running, trying to get close to him to be in the movie. So technically I might be in the movie, and I don't think I ever got paid, but like I said, I have a story about everything. So
I think Fairmont Park, Hoffman did shows there with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. A billion. Yeah. The sprocket jockeys were always
there's
there.
a few, if you remember the parts with Mira's section in Dorkin, that's some of that park.
I filmed
really?
it. I probably filmed it most likely.
Hey, Flat Bible, tell us more about how you're like Rocky.
Why is Flat Bible doing it like a jailhouse interview where they can only text? There's no human in Flat Bible, or what is it? I don't get it.
Flat Bible is anonymous. No one knows who Flat Bible is.
I could probably figure it out in 3 minutes.
Well, Flat Bible,
I know who it is. It's Gale Webb. She's Flat Bible. Secretly.
That Freeman started in my shows. He lived right across the street from me in Westminster. And I was doing shows in a mall and I needed one more kid. I said, Scott, you want to do a show for me? Oh, no, wait, I don't even know a trick. I said, well, you balance, you sit on your bike backwards. He had a little helmet on and a Jaffa mask. I says, pull that off and say hi to the crowd. And that was his first show for me. And you know the rest. And
yeah,
this has happened through the 44 years of all my shows many, many times. I have a whole list of riders here that were just young kids. Nobody even knew their name. And I have.
What names do you have, Gale? What are those? Let's hear them.
Eddie Fiola, Martin Aparijo, Danny Hubbard, John Pova, Scott Freeman, Bob Morales, Rick Thorne. These are just a few. Fred Blood, Michael Castillo, Larry Edgar, now Ben Snowden, Matt Williams, Freddie DeSoto, Todd Seligman, Jess Durenforth, Fred Becker, Casey Smith, Jacob O'Malley, Corey Walters, a boy. We did all the Six Flags shows, tour almost every year for a while. Myron, I don't remember his last name, but he was from Texas. Todd Anderson, Cam Moreland.
Any skateboarders?
Yeah, well, Tony Hawk, Danny Way, Ryan Sheckler. Now Tony Hawk was only 11 years old in one of my shows. Danny Way, all of them were young kids. Ryan Sheckler, Steve Caballero, Christian Asoy, Kara Beth. Oh my gosh, I babysat her at the big old skate park when I was skateboarding and riding. I rode bikes, I loved it. Sean White, Davey Cardozo, Willie Woo, Omar Hassan, and that list is big on the skaters. And I see them all the time now, and they're all grown up and they have their kids. And I'm sorry, I get emotional sometimes because
of course,
I I saw them, so many of them going in the wrong direction. And, we rode skateboards when we were supposed to. No skateboard, we unscrewed the sign so more kids can ride. And I mean, I was all for it. I got sick and tired. I saw people throwing cans at skaters and bike riders. I got out of the car and I've been handcuffed. I've seen my husband and I, rest in peace now. We go in malls, we see cops with bike guys and skaters. The kids were probably playing or finding things to jump or whatever. We get out like, I told you kids to be home at a certain time. Get in the van. Those cops and this happened so many times. It got so good. My husband, who was older than me, he looked a little bit like Santa Claus. So he got it where we can do this all the time. But if it was kids that were real young, the first thing I did is we didn't have cell phones, and I got to stop and call your parents. I'm telling you to get into a car, but the cops go, these kids? I go, yeah, they're my kids. Get in the car. And we got them away for cops. Because I've tried talking to the cops, and back in those days, that was a long time ago, 30. They didn't want to listen. Everybody on a bike or skateboard or whatever, they were just instantly considered bad. Well, that really got me going. And so, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk one of those guys, but that just came in. I was proud, Tony, and so many of the kids, no one knew who they were. They're in our shows, and we got great crowds. Knott's Farm says something one time. They said, we had the largest crowds we have ever had. So we did shows for the US Navy. And I have a whole list of shows, the school shows, into the, I know you're thinking I'm exaggerating, but almost into the thousands. We traveled all over.
Wow.
We had kids telling them they're number one, the same messages.
Way before any of the just say no stuff was going on, Gale was already saying it in her form of just get high in sports, not drugs.
I did start that, and it was in the LA Times 5 times. And they even mentioned Nancy Reagan, not to put her down, of course, but they said there's a gal out there that is telling these kids to stay off drugs, find things in life they love to do. And that's how I started. I lost my very best friend, Mo, to drugs. And I made a promise to her at that funeral that there's got to be something I can do in life to help other kids. And you're hearing only bits and pieces of who I really am. There is a book being written about me after all these years. I never wanted that. I kept saying, no. It's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the kids.
Yeah.
But now the book is going to explain a lot of the things before and why I do what I do more.
Your origin story is what they're going to tell.
Excuse me?
Your origin story, your
Yes.
your motivation. That's awesome. Who's doing it?
Well, actually, it's a mom and a son, and it's Janice Biermann, and he just lost his dad, and Joey. His name is Joey. Since then, we've had a couple of people catch on, and
I'm on a group chat.
we're getting a little.
Yeah,
little
yeah,
into-
someone's trying to join it. That's all.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, no, they put it on
Sean
mute now, so
Curlis?
But that's going to be pretty big. It's going to show a little bit of my childhood. I was in a lot of abused homes, and a lot of things happen. That's not what the whole book's about. I want the book to be inspirational. I want whoever reads it, men, women, girls, boys, young kids, I want them to know that no matter what they choose in life, don't let someone else run your life. Keep the stuff you want to do in your heart, and it can happen.
wow,
Like I said,
Gale.
I can go on and on. I'm sorry.
No,
Gale,
No,
that's awesome.
you never have to say no. Sorry.
I love hearing all that. Thank you. That's so dope.
Yeah.
I thought I heard Eddie Fiola's voice there a moment ago. I kind of recognize that voice. That's him. Hey Joe, when you're ready for it, I have a great Eddie Fiola story, but I don't want to
I am ready
hijack the
for
show.
it. I am.
Well,
ready for
I'm
it.
going to hear this.
He was
Okay.
only 14. He was only 14 when I got.
He's
when
only
I found-
16 now. So here's a very quick Eddie Fiola story. In the 80s, I went to a million AFA contests when Eddie was, the #1 dude. We'd see Eddie, he's a superstar. And if Eddie even brushed into you and hit your arm walking through the hotel, you would go home and tell your friends, me and Eddie Fiola are best friends now. So I went to, for 2 or 3 years, I'd see Eddie Fiola all the time. But of course, like I never really talked to him, never did anything, kind of just like ignored him because he was such a superstar and I was gallivanting around causing trouble with my friends. So Joe, calm down now, don't start. So about a year later, I was at a show in Philadelphia, in Paoli, Pennsylvania, and we get to the show. It's Eddie Fiola and Adam Jung, and we get there, and the show's already started. There's 500 people there, and we get there a little late, and we kind of like work our way through the crowd. Eddie's doing a show, 500 kids. He's doing some airs back and forth, and he kind of looks in the crowd, and he comes to a big skid and stops. He looks right at me and goes, "Hey, I know you. I was signing autographs that day." People were like, "Wait a minute, Eddie Fiola stopped, and you know Eddie Fiola?" And I thought it was the craziest thing that I never spoke one word to this guy all those years, and in a crowd of kids, he singled me out and recognized me and said, "Hey, I know you." And it was like the biggest Christmas present anyone ever gave you. You know what I mean? Because to be like, wow, the greatest BMXer ever, Eddie Fiola, king of the skate parks, stopped and recognized me at a show, and like people didn't even know what to do. It was awesome. So thank you, Eddie. That was my Eddie Fiola story. That was a memory as a child that I'll never forget. It was awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's a great story, Ray. As always, you come up with some ones that really kind of hit it right on the point. As far as I wanted to talk about shows and like the importance of this front line. I feel like it's like the people that are out there doing shows are the people that are really reaching the audience and introducing them to BMX, and also having this message of like, go out there and just have fun and just do whatever you need to do. And like Gale's, pioneering it way back in 1976. We've got Robert Steele here, even though your phone says Sean. Yeah, there's Robert. Robert, Gale's on, and
Hi, Gale.
Hey.
can you give us a little live remote? You actually are doing shows today, right? So give us a little live remote update there.
Yeah, so we're out here in La Habra, California at Walmart doing a show here for Monster Energy. First time that I've actually done this. I'm actually here on behalf of Danny Hubbard and Creative Sports. Danny's busy, so he got me off the bench, and I'm in here to fill in. I got Victor Salazar, Andrew Topa, definitely a super talent, and Sean Curlis. He's the guy that 19 years of age out of Tehachapi, California. Really good talent, up and coming rider. And we're just giving out a lot of free stuff, giving away a lot of free stuff out here. Or what was my key phrases I had to use? We are sampling some stuff here, and a complimentary. That's what I had to say. I can't say free. Is
that Robert Castillo?
Yes.
Yeah, is that Ray?
Robert, what's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Oh, swell and dandy. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Did you?
Man, you're getting better looking. Yeah, you're getting better looking as you get older, man. You got to be 40 by now.
54.
54? Yeah. You guys got the right Robert Castillo?
We don't know. It says
it's
it's
Sean. Here in California. There's a lot of them out here. Anyways, it's beautiful. I got this new app on my phone. You guys check it out. You like it?
Getting dizzy.
All right. Anyways, thanks for having me on. My time here is short-lived because I'm doing like all these announcements, and if I don't, Danny's gonna crush me. And I gotta promote.
You gotta give us a story. At least give us a story or something before you go. Give us a quick story about, I don't know, some show, some crazy event, or
the greatest Stoke that you instilled in a kid at a show.
Oh, okay. I got one. I was really trying to think, and I couldn't think. I'm like, there's so many, but I'd say we're doing a fair show up in Sacramento, and it was me, Volker, Mike Perini, Gabe Weed, I think. I'm not sure. Gabe Weed or Trevor Meyer. Anyways, I'm pacing here, so sorry if I make you dizzy. And we're doing a show, and there's just people all around eating food, drinking, doing whatever. And we're doing this jump over. You get somebody on top of the box jump, and we, get them on to stand up, put their arms up at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and we jump over them. And we're like, hey, we're looking for a volunteer. And these two guys just ran up to the top of the box jump. They're like, I guess they've seen the show before, but they were liquored up. And I didn't know what to do. I was just like, oh crap! Like these guys are gonna just railroad the show. Let's make it fun. As Mike and Dave would say, hey, just go with the flow. So the first thing I said was like, hey, I don't know if we can do this. Budweiser booth is over that way. And the guys are like looking like, where? Like they wanted more. So what happened was the one guy, they're so drunk. The one guy gets on top of the other guy's shoulders. And I'm looking at Mike and Dave, and Mike just rides up to me. And Mike's like, let's do it. I'm like, dude, that's like 10, 12 feet. That's freaking huge. Like, there's no way. He goes, Robert, I got it. I got the Santee boost. He didn't say that. I'm just add that in there to make a true story even better. So guys are up on top of the box jump. It's a 5-foot box jump. I don't know how tall they are, but just put another guy on top of me, maybe 6, 7, but it was tall. And Mike cleared it like 4 feet, and these guys were just so amped, but we were just nervous because they were drunk. And that's just one of many stories, but that one stands out the most because we were really just going like, what the heck's going to happen? And when you're like the ringleader of the show, and then you got someone like Mike, like, let's just do it. It happened. It worked out good, and it was a highlight. Scary.
That could have ended bad, but it worked out. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
That must have been exciting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ringleader is the best improviser.
Yeah, I was trying, but that one kind of threw me off just a bit. But it was fun. But there's so many. Anyways, that's my story.
Cool.
That's awesome.
So good, Robert. Always good to see you. And the sunshine is there. It's beautiful, and it looks like it's almost showtime. When's your next show?
1 o'clock. So that's West Coast time. East Coast time, it'd be what, 4? Yeah, so we're out here just having fun. Still doing it. Still riding in shows. Not that good, but I still ride. I only do school shows because the school show kid. It's funny because I got another story real quick. So I'm doing a show with Woody Edston, and it's me and Mike Saavedra. Me and Mike Saavedra doing the show, and Mike's just giving me a hard time about my old tricks. I'm out there doing boomerangs and pinky squeaks and puppets and stuff, and he's out there doing some tabletops and 1-footers and turn downs and backflips. And he just gives me a hard time. And Woody was there. That was one day he was there. And Mike's just like, yeah, man, we're going to do a show. We got Robert out here. He's going to do all his old tricks. And I go, what's funny is my tricks are all the way into the late 80s, early 90s. I'm pretty sure that backflip was invented and that 1-footed downside tabletop you're doing and the turn down were invented way before then. So actually my tricks, and I'm double your age, are newer than your tricks. And Woody's just sitting there laughing because it was true. My tricks are actually newer than his. But you gotta like kind of give those youngsters or teach those youngsters to give them a hard time because they ride you. Anytime you make one mistake, oh dude, it's death. Like they're not never let you live it down.
All right, so Joel Schallhorn. Joel Schallhorn played bike with me this one time, and he did like, I forget what do you even call it? It's like the half lash going the other way when you like pull up into an old school rope-a-roni. And he does that, and he's like, your game. And I go and I do it, and he cocks his head, and I go, when were you born? And he told me, and I go, I learned that trick before you were born.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And this one time, he was stoked to show me his original trick, and he did like a boomerang with his foot on the crossbar. And he's like, check that out.
Xerox machine.
I call that a Joel aid, and I'm like, you did half a Xerox machine, bro. And he goes, what's a Xerox machine? And I'm like, bro. And so whenever we see dudes like calling out their original tricks that are not original, we're like, yo, that's the Joel aid too. I appreciate the Stoke, but bro, you need to check the history book.
Who's all on here? Let's see. Gale, you there? Hi, Gale.
I'm here.
How you been, Gale?
Who's talking to me?
Robert
Hey,
Castillo.
Robert, how you doing?
I'm great. Long time. I haven't seen you. You live right down the road from me.
I'm ready with a mic. I think I was born with a mic.
Wow.
Mike, can I ask you? Huh?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Good. I'm sorry.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Something happens to me all the time. If I'm walking with Eddie or if I'm walking by myself in malls or restaurants or wherever we go, we have people about your realm of age, which I call young, in your 40s or 50s. And they'll come over and they're like, is your name Gale? Or they would say to you, is your name Michael? Or they'll go, oh my God, you saved our lives, or you saved my life. I was in the worst time of my life and you were there. I heard your messages. I kept coming back to your show just to hear your messages. And they said, these are my kids now. And I say to them what you told me when I was only 14. I get very emotional, but I get this all the time. Like, and I'm very proud of it. My God, it's like, it brings tears to my eyes. If you're walking around just a single person like you, Michael, or any of you, Robert, all of you, I know I'm pointing, I'm sorry. It gives you the greatest satisfaction or something in your body. You could never buy it. It's just in there that you know that you touched so many lives for giving them inspiration to do what they love to do. And I was just wondering if you get that. I'm sure you all get that.
Yeah, it's you know, there's a reason I'm still doing like shows. One, the fear of a regular job. Two, I still like riding my bike. And yeah, there's the different type of adrenaline you get from kids that come up to you and they're really stoked. And then you get some of those kids that are just riding you. They're tough on you. They're giving you a hard time, especially the middle schools. But we have a thing that we do in our shows and all these different rules to becoming a pro if they ever want to do something like this. Because most shows will tell you, don't try this at home. We tell them, try anything. You know, just have a passion for it, have some fun with it, you know, be safe. But all we really do is just keep it simple and tell the kids just to, you know, pay it forward and make a difference, you know, and one little thing you do for somebody, whether it's just helping them out. So it's just real basic messages. We're not motivational speakers at all. We go out there and just give them the basics and have some fun and try to make a difference every time.
I think we do. I think we do. And I see it every time I'm around Eddie Fiola or others too, but Eddie, the pump track in Temecula. And they're making a pump track on their name. It's the Gale Webb Kids and Number One pump track. It's going to be made in Menifee.
Wow. Wait, say the name again, Gale. It's going to be called what?
They brought us to a city meeting, and that's when they told me that they're building a pump track. Like you all know what the pump tracks are now. Yeah, they're very, very, very popular, and they're naming it after myself, Gale Webb, Kids Are Number One pump track. I'm sure it's going to be called Menifee or Gale's Place.
Hey, Gale, not to cut you off, I got to run. We got to get this next show going, but I want to sign off and make sure I do it right. Back to factOrFreestyle. Love all y'all. Ray, it's good seeing you, Gale.
See you, Roberto.
Joe,
Robert.
Man, and Dave.
See you, brother.
See you.
Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
You guys
Hey,
take
Keith,
care.
Keith, how about you? Could you answer what Gale had talked about earlier?
Well, I mean, you know, it's kind of like what Robert just said. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. There's so many times that clients will say to me, like, you need to make sure you tell these kids not to try this at home. Don't go try this at home. And I always tell them, I say, you know, I'm not going to say that. I'll talk about safety and how we use safety gear and how it is about being safe. But I use, for example, I said, if you had a baseball player here speaking, do you think that baseball player would tell them not to go and try baseball or not go and try football? I was like, so it's the same with me. I was like, what we do is our passion, and we want more kids involved and we want more kids to ride. So I would never tell a kid, don't go home and try this. I dwell on the safety part of it. And that's usually how I answer that question. So.
Hey, Joe, I think this is a good time to introduce today's quote, because we always have a quote were you able to find one?
Yes, this is a Rob Lowe quote.
Yeah.
There is no power of change greater than a community discovering what it cares about.
And I think that's definitely a good kind of a overview of what we're talking about here. Like Keith, how you're saying you've really got a pet peeve about it. It's like, no, of course these people are going to be introduced to it, and these riders are going to, you know, take it on and try it out. And I don't know, I think it's exactly what we need to continue to do. And I guess that's kind of what we want to talk a little bit more about, what we're doing now, what we've done in the past, and where we're going, and if we're doing enough.
You know, oh, go ahead.
I am going to hone in on the not, are we doing enough? Because I think that's a very interesting concept. I remember Ellen DeGeneres told this story on her show about, it was something like Portia had gotten her like a donation for like saving some elephants or whatever, and Ellen told the story of it, but said that she was crying, like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? I think that would be a torturous thought to have in your head. Like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Because that's, am I earning, like, am I getting an A+? Am I getting a gold star? I think the power, like, if you are really dedicated to the Stoke, you can't help but find another thing to do. Like, you can't turn it off. You're obsessed about it. You think about it. You think about, like, you know, like you'll rehearse a line or something, or you'll say something to some stranger and they'll react to it. And you're like, I think that might work. Like, you'll think about it. But it's not like there's someone behind you with a whip slapping you on the back saying, dance, doggy, dance.
I have a great quote from Raymond J. Schleckweg Sr. that I found the truest quote ever. And his was, this one has a little bit of almost comedy to it, but it's true. He always said that the anticipation of like a vacation is more exciting than the actual vacation. And like, I thought about that and I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of true. Like, years and years ago, 100 years ago, I went to Hawaii for 10 days and I was so excited. Like, for 3 months, all we could talk about was, I can't wait to get there, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, we got to Hawaii and it was great. It was like really fun. It was great, but it wasn't as exciting as me waiting to go on vacation. You know,
you can do that for anything. You can, like, I the other day I was getting warmed up. It was yesterday. I was getting warmed up, and I use compression pants and compression shorts. They're, you know, compression clothes because it's cold here right now. It's 19 degrees here, and so I will bundle up. So I have my compression stuff on, and rather than stretch in the dome where I ride cold, I stretched inside. But I was stretched just in the compression pants, not in my clothes, and it looked like a superhero suit. And I made a joke that, like, oh, hey, Lee Musselwhite and I are, like, I'm trying to create my superhero suit. And it occurred to me,
what does that have to do with the anticipation of a trip?
Get ready for it. Get ready for it.
Oh my God, I'm so ready.
Imagine what I'm going to say. Okay.
I can't imagine.
And
I can
through my footprints in the spam Instagram, I tell the character that I am on Footprints in the Spam is convinced that he is waking up as a superhero, kind of like Alice in Wonderland. Like, at some point I'm going to wake up. And I realized I got kind of excited at the thought that maybe I'm actually waking up as a superhero. This is my origin story. That is anticipation of something that hasn't yet happened. Hey, Dave, and it generates Stoke.
Dave, do you know if did Joe eat paint chips when he was a little kid? I'm not being silly. I'm just wondering if, like, because he's a little off.
No.
Have you been diagnosed with anything, like, as a younger kid? Like, they're like, oh, little Joey has something, like, just something that, like,
two things. I did get I got knocked out on my bike this one time.
Okay.
And then
that means nothing, but go ahead. We've all
And
been
then this
knocked
oth-
out.
Okay.
Go to the next one.
And then I was like screwing around as a kid, spinning and then falling down onto my bed. And this one time I just over rotated by 90 degrees and I hit my head on the register.
Yeah.
So my parents
Now-
take me to the hospital and they separated me from my
To see
parents.
which one was beating the child, right?
Yes, that's
That
right.
happens all the time.
What else?
And they said, and they probably said, we both are, doctor.
He deserves it.
Wait, and there's another one. There's another one of my dad's quotes. I don't know exactly how he worded it, but one day I was starting within my job. I was starting another job, and I was very nervous because I had to like deal with people that I didn't know, and I had a lot of responsibility, and I'm not good with a lot of responsibility, and I was so worried and worked up about it. My dad said, he goes, Raymond, the worrying you're doing right now is way, way more stressful than the situation you're going to be in when the thing you're worrying about. Meaning that when I got to the job, it wasn't going to be half as bad as what I was thinking it was going to be. So I was all stressed out, but the thing you're worrying about is never as bad as you think it is, which is very true.
Your dad is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, this is incredible talk
And
to a kid.
And then I won't hijack the show anymore. The two things my dad had in life that no one else has ever had. He never used an alarm clock to wake up, and he never used deodorant, and he didn't smell. He never used deodorant. He had zero smell in his body, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I may have told you that already before.
Yeah, you did mention that, but it's a good point.
Yeah, but not having an alarm clock. We're like, Dad,
Yeah.
we have to get up at 4:30 to go to the airport. And it's like midnight, and he goes, okay, no problem. We're like, we have to set an alarm. He's like, oh, I'll get up. And he could get up. I just always found that it's so odd that I just always thought it was crazy, you know? But that's, and then he gave us those two quotes.
I think you have superhero blood in you.
Of course I do. People all day, when they see me limping through Costco shopping, they're like, that's a superhero right there.
Honey, where's my super suit?
Eddie Fuel and I should walk around Costco and just talk to people. I think we would both enjoy that and see if people recognize who would people recognize more, me or Eddie Fiola? Probably me, you know.
That's the funny thing is that I get, there's been times where I'm returning something to IKEA and I'm not wearing anything BMX. I'm not wearing a hat. I'm not wearing a shirt that says BMX on it, nothing. And this guy comes up and says, I'm with my wife. And this guy says, are you Eddie Fiola? And I look over to the wife. I'm going, see, they know who I am. But, and the reason being is I think because we had magazines back in the day, kids used to put these pictures up on their wall, and you look at a picture every day of your 14, 15, 16-year-old life, you're going to know that person's face.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Eddie, I did that as a kid. One of my friends started, like, he had that stick tack stuff, and then he had like one wall that had all of his favorite, magazine photos. And I was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I had all 4 walls just top to bottom. And then I would rearrange them as like I would find groupings and stuff. Like there was a section that had just the kick turns. There was a section that had no handers. There's a section that had flatland. And like, for years, I would just rearrange these things. And then when there was another awesome photo, I would have to select which one to replace it with because I used up all the space.
Uh-oh. Yeah, no, that's an awesome story. I had pictures up on my wall, and I had pictures of, Tinker Juarez, and I had pictures of Stu Thompson and Greg Hill and Harry Leary. That look back that Harry did when he's on that GMC on that cover shot is unbelievable. I looked up to the BMX racers that had this style, and but going back to all this freestyle stuff and doing shows, Gale Gale, came to me one day that I had no idea that people did this, and asked me, if I wanted to ride her half pipe. And I would have gave money to ride her half pipe. and she said, I will give you $25 and all the food you can eat. And it was a done deal, and
Yeah.
never looked back.
Yeah, nice.
Long
It's
time
funny
ago.
when Gail's talking about 1976, and I know Ray's got one of these.
Uh-oh.
Oh
yeah, the Evil Knievel bike.
Yeah, so that's my original Knievel bike. So in 76, that's when I learned to ride a bike. I didn't know BMX existed. I didn't know what it was. I think the people ask, like, how did I get into BMX? I think I may have seen a Chips episode, the one with Larry Wilcox, and then probably seen E.T. with the chase scene. So I knew there was something like that. But then I remember in junior high, somebody having a magazine. And I was like, I got to get me one of those magazines. So I happen to have this here. This is the first magazine that Keith got in 1984.
No way.
It's wore out because I looked through it so much, and I ended up picking out that I wanted a Diamondback. But the reason I had this is I'm building the replica of Buff's bike. Like, I've slowly been collecting every single piece for the last 20 years. And I'll do a Facebook post at some point. Wow. But like, I didn't know Gale's shows existed then. I knew from reading this magazine, and this is how, I was a kid. When I looked at the magazine, like there's a picture of RL doing a track stand, I thought that he aired the ramp and then landed in the track stand. I didn't understand what Flatland was. And so, that was 84. So fast forward to summer of 85. And at the same time, I got that magazine too. Like, you see this picture of Woody doing the hopper?
Yeah.
I thought he had just aired the quarter pipe and then went off the side and landed like that. I didn't understand that was Flatland. So,
hold on a second. Can we just talk about how incredible that would be for there to be an actual event with a launch ramp?
Yeah.
And you had to land in a Gumby.
Land in a track. Summer of 85, I'm at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I know Dave knows where that's at. He's been there. Eddie's probably been there too, and sure Ray. But Mr. C's bike shop had CW there. And when it was CW, it was Diz Hicks. Mike Buff was not on BMX Action anymore. And
Zeppy.
It was somebody else. Well, Magoo was
Zeppy Mays.
Zeppy. Yeah,
Magoo, Zeppy, and Buff.
So that was the first BMX show I saw. And I was like, holy crap, this is what I want to do. Like, that's what got me fueled on it. And then I think that fall I saw the Hut show with Donovan Ritter and Woody.
Who?
Donovan Ritter and Woody. They were at a Hut show in 85. But the magazines back then were the social media for us, and we were seeing these pictures. I was seeing these pictures. I hadn't seen it in person, so I didn't understand what they were doing. But that's what got me into wanting to be into BMX. And and thinking about shows and how much shows have changed, I would say maybe Gale's, the way her shows have been, she's always entertained the masses of people of all different walks and lifestyles. But like Ray can attest to this, and Dave too, when like Dave was on Haro, the main premise of the show was to promote that brand. So a big part of the shows that you did back then were only at a bike shop. And I've never really done maybe one or two at a bike shop, but in my doing shows, when we go do shows for the masses of people that don't really know what BMX is, you could do a hitchhiker. They don't understand that a hitchhiker was created in 1989, but they're still blown away at it. But I look back at you, Dave, when you and Blyther and Wilkerson, you guys were doing shows at bike shops, and the vast majority that showed up at that show were bike riders, and they were hardcore bike riders. They were your peers. So you had to be like, own it. Like, you had to own your game. So I think you and that era, and even, you know, Eddie, when he was riding for GT, when you were promoting that bike brand, the shows were so different than like what I do now. Like I can get away with doing a funky chicken because most of the people, they're like, oh wow, that's a crazy trick. But like back then, you had to be doing the most upcoming, most, you know, newest trick if you were, you know, doing a bike shop type show promoting the brand. But you know, I don't know. It's just crazy, you know, how many different varieties of shows that we have now. You know, you think about it, like now Robert's out there doing a show, and he's not promoting a bike brand, but he's promoting Monster. So
yeah, that's a good point. Keith, I have a question for you. So what about like that first time you talked about how once you saw the CW, you're sold, you're like, this is what I want to do. What about when you actually decided to do your own show on your own, like schedule and book your own show? Like what year was that? What was that like? And how was that?
Yeah, see, I don't really talk that much about it, but you know, I was part of Eastern Bikes. And when I was part of Eastern Bikes, I started that with John Byers and Mike Corley. And we started that in 1995. And we had done just as local guys, we had done some shows here and there. But when I started with Eastern, I went down the same road as like GT or Haro or CW. I was like, all right, my job is to promote the bike brand, and we're going to promote Eastern with shows. So that was my responsibility for the 5 years I was with Eastern. So then when I left Eastern, by that time, if you guys recall, like as you were getting into say the 2000s, 2001s, that was when it was kind of phasing out from the bike shop show era, because you know, we did them as Eastern, but you remember there was the Schwinn Tang team. You also had GT, and GT was still doing shows at every bike shop you could think of. But by the time GT and Schwinn merged or got bought out or whatever, the bike shop shows kind of went away. But as time went on too, you look at the sale of bicycles, and you know this, Dave, like you used to be able to go to a bike shop, walk in the door, and it was, you know, dozens or, you know, of BMX bikes. It's not that way now. And I think mail order bike companies really hurt the local bike shops because everybody started ordering everything from mail order bike shops. So you didn't have the need for a bike team to go to promote a bike, a bike at a bike shop, because bike shops don't really sell that many BMX bikes anymore. It's all done through mail order. So
yeah, there's a little bit of a disconnect, but I also feel like it was a key component was just the margin or the profit margin that one would make as a shop owner.
Yeah.
On a mountain bike, or even a high end like, you know, BMX race bike, they might, you know, and it's a different crowd that they were able to, you know, appeal to and bring in the door. And I wish the bike shops,
you get fitted now. I mean, you go in with a mountain bike, they fit you, they make all the adjustments and stuff like that. But with BMX, there is no such thing as scientific fitting.
Well, as time has gone on, you think about it, in the BMX world, all we have done is taken away from certain components that are on a bike. You think about how many components and how many things used to be, like everybody always likes to poke fun of Woody back in the day when he rode with goggles on top of his helmet. He was sponsored.
Truth be told, I do like to laugh at that.
But you got to understand, he rode for Amy Grips. He rode for Amy Goggles. He did shows at BMX races. Those people that were watching the race or watching basically like a halftime, they were like, "Oh, sweet, he's got Amy."
I'm not saying I'm an intellectual, but I'm just saying what I laugh at.
There's not as many components on bikes anymore, and it's when you pull certain whole categories away from stuff, then you actually pull monetary away from.
Oh, I get it. I was thinking about the frame designs that had all those kludgy, like the hutch fork knob things, or
that you couldn't stand on.
I mean,
and just when you took brakes away, like years ago, guys had brake cable sponsors, brake shoe sponsors, and
Right.
brake sponsors. You take a whole category away, whereas back in the day, guys were paid to run Diacom, or they were paid to run, a certain brake shoe.
All right. So
stuff
Keith,
like that.
you and I are going to brainstorm here.
Yeah.
You and I are going to start a bike company, and we are going to start a bike company with the strategy of monetizing all of the other parts. So what that means is you and I have to invent additional bike parts. What would be the first bike part?
Hey, everybody, check it out. That was the first hour of like 3 hours. So hit the link that you see here to go to the next one when Keith King reveals to me his brilliant idea to bring back the BMX industry by adding more parts to bikes.